There are a ton of free player decisions you guys are going to be making in Madden 23, but in today's video, we're going to be talking about one of them. Now, while this is definitely one of the quote-unquote easier decisions you're going to be making in Madden 23, it's still an important one. You're getting about 100,000 coins of value in these players, so it's important you choose wisely. So it's definitely important you guys choose wisely, and it's also important that you scroll down and drop a like on the video. You don't have to, but I'd really appreciate it.
We don't care.
So yeah, Salsa family, and let's take a look at the free 83 overall player packs you're going to be earning on day one of Madden 23. I don't care if you got all Madden. I don't care if you got standard. Everyone is getting this pack. So of course, this is a decision that everyone's going to have to make, and we're going to start it off right here by taking a look at what is, in my opinion, probably the easiest selection of the two. Now, that easier decision, in my opinion, is going to come on the offensive side of the ball. Of course, there's 383 overall players you have to choose from on offense: DeAndre Swift, Lamar Jackson, and Jaylen Waddle. And the way I want to structure this video is quickly take a look at the three players, take a look at their strengths and weaknesses, then go over the one I recommend you guys pick, and we'll run it back. We'll do the exact same thing for defense, and I definitely recommend you guys watch until I get to the defensive ones, because those ones are a little bit more challenging to make your pick. But starting it off right here, we got the 83 overall DeAndre Swift. He's got 82 speed, 84 acceleration, pretty good break tackle and change of direction at 80 and 84 respectively, but otherwise, of course, he's going to be an elusive back, so the juking, the spin move, that type of stuff is going to be better. He's only got 64 catching, which really isn't that good. I feel like they kind of did him dirty. I feel like he's actually a pretty good receiving back in the NFL, so 64 catching feels a little bit low, but this is more of like an elusive running back that's going to be able to juke, spin, and that type of stuff. Then option 2 is going to be this Lamar Jackson card right here, who actually looks pretty good. 85 speed, 84 throw power. Those are by far the two most important stats to look for on a quarterback. Speed and throw power are, I would say, like the holy duo of quarterbacks in Madden Ultimate Team. Otherwise, it's looking pretty decent. I would like to see the medium accuracy raised up a little bit. 77 isn't great for a quarterback. I would like to see that at like 79 or 80. Deep is solid, short accuracy solid, throw under pressure, and then of course play action and throwing on the run. Those are naturally going to be high on a Lamar Jackson. But in terms of like the strengths on this player, he's kind of like your prototypical Madden quarterback. He can throw the ball far, and he's got pretty good speed. So those two things are going to be noticeable on the card. Good speed, good throw power. Those are critical. The main weakness though is he's a quarterback. And if you pick up a free quarterback in Madden Ultimate Team and then want to go ahead and upgrade him, you can't really do much with the free one who's your backup. And that's pretty much the perfect segue to take a look at Jaylen Waddle, because Jaylen Waddle is a wide receiver. And let's say, for example, you pick Jaylen Waddle and then maybe you want to upgrade him, pick up a new wide receiver. Well, Jaylen Waddle is still giving you value at like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, whatever it may be. You're still going to use that card. Whereas with Lamar Jackson and DeAndre Swift, if you pick up a new quarterback or a new running back, you're not going to be getting that much value from your backups, because you typically don't use those players in Ultimate Team all that much. But before I get a little bit ahead of myself, let me take a look at the Jaylen Waddle stats. Now, most noticeable is the speed, man. This guy's got 86 speed. That's pretty fire for a wide receiver. That's kind of like your prototypical slot wide receiver. Really fast, good change of direction, good agility, all that stuff. And then taking a look at the rest of the stats, I can't really complain. High 70s, low 80s for the catching traffic, and spec catch. That's all going to be solid. Then route running looks pretty solid for this card as well. He's got low 80s, high 70s. I can't really complain. I would say across the board, this is a good player. The only issue is he's going to be a little bit small. Jaylen Waddle is actually shorter than me. I'm a 6'7" behemoth over here, if you guys couldn't tell. Jaylen Waddle is going to be a little bit shorter than that, but he is a little bit stronger than me. I will give him that one. Now, nonetheless, this, if you guys could not tell, is going to be my recommendation for offense. I'd recommend you go with Waddle. Wide receiver is a position that you can have 2 or 3 of and still use on your team. I would argue this card is definitely better than DeAndre Swift. I would say he's probably also better than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a good card nonetheless. If you pick him, I don't think it's a mistake, but I would say the best one is Jaylen. Okay, now moving on to the defense. This is one where I might have a controversial opinion, but before we talk about that, if you're watching this video and you are not yet subscribed to the channel, maybe you're newer to Madden, maybe this is one of your first times watching me. I make a bunch of Madden Ultimate Team videos kind of like this, where I show you coin making methods, ways to get free players, how to upgrade your Ultimate Team. So if you like this video, you might like the rest of the content on my channel. Click through, maybe check it out, and if you enjoy, hit that sub button so you don't miss any future vids. But getting back on track, let's take a look at our defensive options. Those are going to be Montez Sweat, Jabril Peppers, as well as Isaiah Simmons. And taking a look at the Montez Sweat card right here, he has got 80 speed, 83 excel. That is pretty fire for a right end. That's really good, I would say, for an 83 overall right end. Then as we take a look at the rest of the stats, the block shed is good, 78. I would say block shed is important on those cards. And then ideally, you're looking for the pass rush moves to be pretty good as well. I would say finesse move at an 83 is awesome on the player. Power move is a little bit low at a 71, but kind of what I'm thinking is I'm hoping that this card can be fast, uses finesse moves to get sacks, and then be pretty good in the run game with 78 block shed. Of course, the strength isn't really that amazing, but this is kind of more of like a pass rushing end who should be able to play pretty well in the run game and is also really, really big. Like, he is a big man. Montez Sweat, he's taller than me. Jaylen Waddle is shorter. Montez Sweat is definitely going to be taller. Then option 2 is one that I'm not really a massive fan of. We got Jabril Peppers and his 83 overall player rating. He's got 82 speed, 84 excel, a really balanced card, like 83 zone, 84 hit power. But I just think with a card that's a free safety, you're going to want more speed. 82 speed is a little bit slow on the player. Obviously, the free safety is usually going to be one of the last lines of defense. He's got to be really rangy to be able to move between routes, potentially like a streak route, a post route, whatever it may be. He's got to have speed or he's going to get burned for some long touchdowns. So I don't love the fact that this card is a little bit slow. Now, final option on defense is one that I think a lot of people are going to like, and that is Isaiah Simmons at middle linebacker with 83 speed, 84 excel, 82 zone, and 80 hit power. Now, this, in my opinion, is a tough decision. Do you go with Isaiah Simmons or do you go with Montez Sweat or potentially even Jabril Peppers? But let's take a look at the strengths and weaknesses on Isaiah Simmons before we get too ahead of ourselves. Now, this card right here is going to be a pretty damn good user on day one. Isaiah Simmons is a big guy. He's got good speed. He's got good zone coverage, which doesn't matter a ton if you're using him. A great acceleration. I would assume the catching is going to be pretty good on this player for a middle linebacker as well. So if you guys couldn't tell, this is a nice user on day one. But kind of similarly to what we were saying with Jaylen Waddle, I don't know how much long-term value you're really going to get out of Isaiah Simmons. I would say user is probably the position on defense that I'm upgrading first. That's kind of the first thing I want to get, and I'm usually looking to have like a pretty high overall card at that position. So Isaiah Simmons right here at an 83 with 83 speed is going to be a good user, but I think I would probably upgrade that on day one, and instead what I would do is I would take the Montez Sweat card on day one. So that's my recommendation. I would say Sweat is probably the best one to take. Then at a very, very close second is going to be Isaiah Simmons, then Jabril Peppers. Jabril is just a little bit slow. I don't really recommend you go with him. But yeah, Montez Sweat looks like he's going to be a damn good pass rusher, but it's a very, very challenging decision to pick between those cards. I'm going to give the slight edge to Montez Sweat. I, again, wouldn't fault you if you take Isaiah Simmons. Both cards are going to be good. But those are going to be my rankings and advice for the 83 overall players everyone can select on day one. I would say Jaylen Waddle and Montez Sweat are the move. If you want to go with Jaylen Waddle and Isaiah Simmons, that could be pretty good as well. But those are really the only players you want to consider between. So yeah, let me know in the comment section who you guys are planning to pick out of this pack. I ran some polls and here are the results for what most of you guys are picking. I think most people are taking Isaiah Simmons over Montez Sweat, which is understandable. I personally am going to recommend Sweat though, and then of course Jaylen Waddle was the major favorite on offense. And quick plug right here, I've been seeing people taking home some W's on Underdog Fantasy on the preseason betting. My guy took home almost $200 yesterday, and I know a bunch of other people have been doing well. So if you guys want to try it out, I will leave Underdog linked in the description. If you use code SWIFT, you are getting a deposit bonus up to $100 matched on the account. And until next time, fellas, I'm out. Peace.